Almost everyone who has taken the Somatic Skins Quiz so far has had the same reaction. They don't like the result. They recognize it, they feel the accuracy of it, and still there's resistance even though they know that it landed. And this is because they don't experience their native skin as a gift, at least not at first. They experience it as something they've had to work around. Hey, before we get into all of the goods around these nervous system and somatic patterning, do me a favor first. This video will make a ton more sense if you pause, go down into the description, and you'll find a link to take our free 15-question Somatic Skins quiz. Go there first, find out your particular skin, and then bring that to our video and everything will hold a ton more value. In what we call skins work, working with the nervous system and the patterns that it takes, especially when we encounter pressure, people often assume that their skin describes their strengths or their limitations, like a personality test. But your native skin isn't a personality test. It is the earliest way your nervous system learned to organize attention and tension under pressure. It's a different domain than personality entirely. So when people see their result, they're not seeing their potential. At first, they're seeing their history. And this is why you might resist your initial result, because likely you've spent years compensating for your native skin. Not training for it, but working your way around it, like low key, trying to prove that you aren't like that. Let me give you some examples. If you are the warrior, you might have actually learned in response to soften, to slow down, to fear pushing too hard, because you might have learned or received the message that you're harsh, you don't want to be a jerk, or you're secretly afraid to hurt others. If you are the shapeshifter, you might have learned to repress your desire for novelty and instead learn to commit for the long haul, to stabilize and to choose to stay and not adapt. And this is because you might be secretly afraid that you're seen as flaky or that you haven't always been able to be counted on and you don't want to be that person. The sage might have learned to act without certainty or bypass their analysis because they've been told they're Spock-like, cold, disconnected, and not good with connecting with others. The asset might have learned to protect themselves, to harden or withhold. They're hell-bent on proving that they're a badass because everything feels like a curse when you can feel everything, and they don't want to be weak. So when they take the quiz and it names their native skin, it doesn't feel empowering. It feels like being taken back to an earlier configuration of self, one they've worked really hard not to be limited by. And this is what's usually missing. Most people in the regular awareness, mindfulness, somatic game haven't always been given the tools or the context to work with their skin directly, especially under pressure. Because you don't really outgrow it and you don't fix it and you don't replace it with something more evolved. You develop range from it, and that doesn't come without pressure tests. Your skin is the base architecture your system runs on. It isn't the ceiling of who you can be, and it shouldn't only be accessible at strength when conditions are calm. When your skin is unconscious, it will narrow you when the pressure rises. When it's trained, you become somebody who moves with precision. And this is training that actually happens intentionally within the environment of the prestige. Not a stuffy theory or more coaching insight, but through the right tools, the right environment, and lived experiences like simulators that put pressure on the system in a clean way. When you are given those conditions, something shifts, and what once felt like a limitation becomes usable. What was once reactive becomes responsive, and then even becomes creative. and the choice appears where there used to be just habit. So here's something you can work with right away. Instead of asking, why does this keep happening? Why do I do this? Ask, where is my body right now and what is it trying to handle or manage here? The next time pressure shows up, don't analyze cognitively. Change your orientation slightly. Shift where your attention is resting, physically, like your literal eyes, not just metaphorically. Adjust your stance, your posture, your feet. Slow or deepen, move your breath. Even these small changes in the body begin to reorganize the pattern. And that's the difference between awareness and training. Once you start meeting your skin from the body and from action, not as something to compensate for, but architecture to work with, like a masterpiece, it stops feeling like a flaw, and it starts revealing what it was built to do. If you made it this far, thank you so much for being here. And if this video was useful, please do consider liking and subscribing. It helps the channel out a lot and keeps us making this work available. You can also find 2 links down below, the Somatic Skins and Becoming the Grand Formidable. 2 books are core curriculum available for pre-order now.